Hey everybody, welcome back to Being a Being. Jason here. Today I'm going to talk about something I'm really passionate about, and I might dive somewhat into the world of politics. I don't like to make my streams political, but something I saw recently in the state of the world lately is making me want to just get this off my chest. So I hope you'll stick with me to the end and then leave any comments after that. Want to have a good, healthy discussion here, and I do not mean to attack anybody's beliefs or ideologies, but there may be instances when I do, and if I do and I offend you, I apologize, but this is just my beliefs and my opinion, so let's get into it. What inspired this was I was reading an article that a famous musician wrote in response to one of his fans writing him a letter about his dad being a right-wing a-hole, and how every time they talk, they get into arguments, and he doesn't know how he can love his dad, and all that kind of stuff. And the musician's reply was that you don't have to love them because of their beliefs. You love them because they're human and they created you and gave you life, and we need more unity as a species than division, and not to let somebody's beliefs separate you. And at first I was like, yeah, right on, that's really awesome. But then the more I thought about it, I was like kind of on the fence about it, because he does make a good point. We definitely need more unity as a species. But that being said, you can't just blanket statement love somebody because they're human. I mean, I guess you can, and we can agree to disagree on that, but that's kind of what I'm talking about. It creates dangerous, slippery slopes. Is it okay to disagree with somebody because of their political beliefs? You're a Republican, the other person's a Democrat. Can you still love each other even though you have those different beliefs? Yes, absolutely, 100%. If you want to debate capitalism versus socialism versus communism with me, I'm all for it. I'm all for those kind of debates. That's good for us. It challenges us mentally to see other people's point of views. Where I have the problem is twofold. Number one, loving somebody just because they're your parent and they gave you life. I don't agree with that. I'm not saying that applies or doesn't apply to me, but it's dangerous to do that. Not, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but not everybody's had good relationships with their parents. Some parents have done pretty awful things to their kids. You shouldn't have to love somebody because they gave you life, especially when you didn't have a part in that. They made choices which led to you being created. You don't have to love them or hate them for that. You are allowed to have your own beliefs about them based on your experience with them. In some cases, I've seen people who hate their parents, but they love their adopted parents. And that's perfectly fine. You don't have to, or you shouldn't have to spend your whole life feeling like you have to give your undying gratitude to your parents for them copulating and making you. Sorry, that's just lame and I don't buy it. I mean, if you have a good relationship and you love them, great. If they used to beat you to near death and you don't love them, I'm fine with that. I wouldn't expect you to love somebody after that. It's easy to say you should forgive them because they're your parents, but until you've been in those shoes, I don't think you can just wrap it in a blanket and say that. And then there's this other idea of these beliefs dividing us, and that's what they're trying to do. And I agree that, a lot of politics is a device that was created to to divide the masses so that when things do go awry, it's harder to unify and correct them. I don't agree with this love somebody because they're human when their beliefs cross over into realms that are against your morals, so much that you would never do something like that or be associated with it. I think it's okay to be divided at that point. I think you should be divided if you want to be on the right side of history. Like, let's say, using the same methodology, you should love somebody because of their beliefs, even though because they're human, even though they have different beliefs. And then let's say they believe that watching child porn's okay, but they're human and they made a mistake, right? It's okay to still love them. I don't agree with that. Or you support somebody who believes in locking people in a cage and throwing away the key because they live on one side of an imaginary line that was created a long time ago by our ancestors. We're not in those shoes, and we should just lock them up and throw away the key. I can't myself stand with somebody and love them when it is wrong against my moral core. I'm not going to love them because they're a human, but their beliefs yield to genocide or torture or depravity or poverty. I believe in, basic inalienable human rights. And when your beliefs cross over into that realm and you're taking that away from people, I have a problem with saying that we should still love them because they're human and they're allowed to make mistakes. Okay? That's just not right. You can love somebody, if they have different opinions and beliefs, like, they think the tax bracket should be adjusted. They think there should be welfare. There shouldn't be welfare. You should be allowed to smoke inside or outside. Fine. You want to have little, disparaging separation and division because of things like that. I think that's being a little petty. But when you're just blanket saying you need to love people because they're human, it's dangerous and it creates a dangerous slippery slope. What about somebody who thinks it's okay to have 12-year-olds marry? They didn't marry a 12-year-old themselves, but they fully support that and support people who do that. Should you love them? I don't think so. Yeah. What if somebody still believes in having slaves and they support that? Should you love them because they're human? Like, what if I found out that one of my family members was in the KKK? Oh, they have different beliefs, but they're still human and they led to your creation, so you should love them. I think that's BS, really. It's a cop-out, and if anything, as much as people like that divide us, we can still find unity in those of us who are going to stand against that. I think that's more the point he was trying to make, but he didn't quite get there. There's never going to be a case where humanity is 100% united that I can foresee anyways. I mean, I'm not a social science expert. I can't say that will never, ever, ever happen, but in my opinion, it won't ever happen. I think there's always going to be ideologies and beliefs that separate us, but if somebody has a different religion than you and they're not hurting anybody or supporting any beliefs that are hurting people, fine, love them. You can argue and still love people. But if their religion, requires them to sodomize somebody in the back room, and you support that, I'm sorry, GTFOH, but yeah, you don't need to love somebody when they make those kind of mistakes. What about people who think it's okay to, I don't know, people who support racism? It's just a belief they have. They don't necessarily do it themselves, but they don't see an issue with the people who do. I have a problem with somebody saying I should love those people because not loving them creates division. Well, I'm sorry, I'm okay with that division. And I'd prefer it's there because standing in the face of evil and doing nothing, even if it's just picking the other side, at least I've done something, versus standing idly by while the evil continues. And that's where I think the distinction is you can love people with different beliefs and argue all you want, that's fine, but you know, when you're supporting things and being told that you need to love somebody and unify when they're going against your moral core, I don't think unity needs to go that far. It's my opinion. Feel free to disagree. I just wanted to get that out there. Let me know what you think, and we can continue this discussion another time or in the comments, or we can talk about something else. Anyways, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and we'll catch you next time. As always, thanks for watching. If you like what you've seen, please click like, subscribe, leave a comment, and share with your friends. Thanks for being awesome beings.